The glass doors of the fried Plex swung open, and Ava led the group inside. Aplina, Diana, and Serena followed, their movements synchronized by years of shared shifts. They reached for their security badges, securing them in place with a sharp click, before fanning out across the dining area. The restaurant was a cavern of empty booths and polished surfaces. The only presence was the rhythmic, mechanical hum of the deep fryers, a constant drone that seemed to vibrate through the floorboards. Ava checked the perimeter, her eyes scanning the dark corners of the room, while Serena verified the locks on the kitchen exits. Diana and Aplina circled the tables, ensuring every chair was tucked and every light was accounted for. They moved with a practiced, hollow efficiency, their footsteps echoing against the linoleum. The air smelled of stale oil and industrial cleaner. Every minute that passed felt identical to the last. They met back at the center of the room, the silence pressing in from all sides. The facility was secure, the perimeter was tight, and the long, uneventful night stretched out. The menu board flickered, displaying gourmet burgers and sides that no one would ever order tonight. Ava stared at the glowing text, then caught Serena's eye. The silence of the restaurant had become an itch. They abandoned their patrol routes without a word, drifting toward the arcade corner. The racing machines roared to life. They spent 30 minutes slamming buttons, competing for high scores that meant nothing, but the adrenaline was short-lived. Aplina kicked the side of a game cabinet, the sound echoing sharply. They moved to the ball pit next, diving into the neon plastic sea, but the novelty vanished as quickly as it had arrived. Ava climbed out, shaking plastic spheres from her hair, and pointed toward the kitchen prep station. Her expression shifted from boredom to a sharp, mischievous intent. The professional facade crumbled as they pushed through the swinging doors, ready to claim the space for themselves. The kitchen was a pristine expanse of stainless steel until they arrived. Ava and Serena cleared the counters with sweeping motions, while Aplina grabbed a stack of trays. Diana moved straight to the spice station, her focus narrowing. She pulled a heavy chef knife from the rack and began to work. The blade hit the board in a rapid, rhythmic cadence. She chopped habaneros, ghost peppers, and Thai chilies, reducing them into a fine, stinging dust that hung in the air. Her movements were precise and relentless. She swept the pile into a large mixing bowl and reached for 3 different bottles of concentrated hot sauce. The liquid hit the peppers with a wet, slapping sound. As she stirred the mixture, a thin gray smoke began to curl upward from the bowl. It did not dissipate. Instead, it clung to the ceiling, drifting in slow, oily ribbons. The air in the kitchen grew dense, turning sharp and metallic. Ava and the others stepped back, their eyes narrowing as the fumes began to bite at their lungs. Diana ignored the warning signs, grabbing a tray of raw chicken, submerging the pieces into the bubbling red sludge. She tossed the coated meat onto the grill. The sizzle was violent, and the kitchen air turned heavy. The timer dinged, a sharp, metallic sound that cut through the heavy kitchen air. Diana plated the chicken. The meat was stained a dark, angry crimson, glistening under the overhead lights. Ava, Aplina, and Serena each took a piece, their expressions expectant. They bit down simultaneously. For a heartbeat, there was only the texture of the crust. Then, the heat arrived. It did not build. It struck. It hit their tongues like a physical blow, a concentrated wave of fire that instantly numbed their lips and forced their eyes to stream. Ava's face flushed a deep, burning red. She dropped her piece of chicken, the meat clattering against the stainless steel. Serena gasped, her hands flying to her throat as if to pull the air in by force. The spice was a living thing, searing their throats and radiating outward. They scrambled, stumbling over each other in a blind, eye-watering frenzy. The kitchen became a blur of motion. They lunged toward the walk-in refrigerator. They grabbed 4 cartons of milk, tearing the seals with their teeth. They chugged the liquid, the cold white stream barely cutting through the inferno. Ava slammed her empty milk carton onto the stainless steel counter. The hollow plastic sound echoed through the quiet kitchen. She wiped her eyes, her face still flushed, and looked at the remaining pile of crimson-stained chicken. It sat on the tray like a warning. Aplina and Serena stepped out from the cooler, their breathing finally steadying. They looked at the tray, then turned their gaze toward Diana. She stood by the grill, holding the tongs, her expression sheepish. The silence stretched, heavy and thick. Ava pointed a finger at the tray, then directly at Diana. There was no argument. Diana was officially banned from the kitchen for the rest of their careers. The shift was over. The experiment was finished, and the restaurant returned to its rhythmic, quiet hum.